If you've ever hit a short putt that felt really stressful and rushed, or hit a 30-footer that you left 10 feet short, it's not your aim or your green read or the pressure even. It's your stroke, timing, and tempo. And in this video, we're going to fix that. You've probably been told to take the putter back and through the exact same length. But on short putts, I think that's actually backwards. And on really long putts, you need to flip that ratio completely. Today, I'm going to share with you a technique, a little trick that I don't ever see anyone talking about, but I see really good putters doing, and that's varying the length of their back and through stroke, not only to control speed and distance, but also using a slightly different ratio based on the length of the putt. And you'll find if you do this and you get a feel for it, it'll instantly help you not only control speed and distance, but also improve your accuracy. If you watch this channel any at all, you know that I'm a big fan of using rhythm and tempo to control your speed and distance on your putting. I don't believe that anyone has the physical ability or the touch to control speed and distance of their putting with changing how hard they roll the ball or how much force they apply to the putter. If you think you do, then you get a kitchen scale and you take one finger and you try to touch it with 1 ounce of force. And then you try to touch it with 2 or 5 and vary that up. You can't do it. It's too delicate. But what you can do is set up with your putts and have a beat in your head or a free metronome app downloaded onto your phone and keep the beat. Start the stroke on one beat, contact the ball on the next one. Stroke, contact. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that you can do consistently. And then on a shorter putt, you're still making the same rhythm and tempo, start, contact, but you're moving the putter a shorter distance. And on a longer putt, you're moving it a longer distance. Now you say, and you'd be right, well, yeah, if I'm moving the putter a longer distance at the same tempo, I got to move it faster. And yeah, you do, but you don't have to think about that and think about how much force you're applying to do that. You simply keep the rhythm, and your brain is really good at that. Even if you're like me and you don't even have the musical talent to play a modern car radio correctly, you can still keep the beat and the rhythm. That's a very consistent way to control speed and tempo, but now that begs the question, well, how far do I take it back relative to how far I take it through? Let's talk about that. So most people believe that you should take the putter back and through the same amount. And I agree, on most putts, you ought to take the putter back and through the same amount. At least it feels that way. Reality is there's this thing called the ball that gets in the way. And so if I'm making a stroke that takes the putter back and through the same amount, this collision with the ball slows it down, and I go through a little bit less because of the collision with the ball, especially if I'm managing my speed and distance with the length of the stroke and a beat, a rhythm, a tempo, like I talked about a minute ago. So the feel is back and through the same amount. The reality is you're going through a little bit less. And that works for most putts. But I'm going to tell you that on short putts, 5 feet or less, I've been doing something for well over a year now that's helped me a whole lot. And that is on short putts, going back less and through a little further. Instead of a ratio of the same back and through, or 1 to 1, I've been going back about 1 and through 2 or 3. And what that does is it helps me keep the face square and hold that finish going through. And I'll illustrate it for you this way with a ball. Now, normally, if this was a 12, 15-foot putt, I would back and through same amount, or what feels like same amount to me. But this is a short putt, 3-footer. So I'm going to work on going back 1 and through 3, and I want you to watch what happens. Pay careful attention to the putter face here. So this is like a 3-footer, back, and I held that putter face straight up the line. Now that does several things for you. One is it makes certain that you don't leave a 3 to 5 footer short because you're following it straight up the line with the putter face by going through a little further. Two, it makes certain that you stay still and keep that putter face square to the line like this instead of pulling up and yanking that putter face off the line. So it'll help you make sure that you hit those putts firm enough, and it'll make sure that you keep the putter face square on those short putts. No more stress about distance, about leaving it short, about start lines. You just roll it in there. A good way to practice this and get the feel of it and prove to yourself that it works is go out and do what I call the push drill. Now you cannot do this on the course in a real round, but for practice, it's a nice little drill. That's just drop a ball on the ground, set your putter down against the ball, and push it on 3-footers. Just push it all the way to the hole. Out and roll 3-footers. Roll as many in a row as you can, and then count that, hold on to that, then take and do this push drill for about 10 putts, maybe 5, maybe 10, and then go back and roll 3-footers again, and I'll guarantee you you'll make more the second time around because you got a feel of doing that push drill, keeping the putter face square. On really short putts, my ratio back and through instead of 1 to 1 is about 1 to 3. It helps a lot. Keep the face square, roll those short putts dead in the heart of the cup. Now on really long putts, I flip that completely the other way around, and I want to feel like it's probably closer to 2 to 1, but I want to feel like I'm going back 3 times as far as I'm going through. So 3 back to 1 through. And you go, John, why would you do that? Well, if on a really long putt and I'm using the length of the stroke to control my speed and distance, feeling like I go back 3 and through 1 means I make sure to take the putter back far enough to get the ball to the hole. The second thing that does is it makes sure only going through 1, it makes sure that I'm not whacking the putt, that I'm not moving and twisting my body and pulling those long putts offline so that I miss them by 5 or 6 feet right or left. It also helps me feel like I'm hitting the ball softly, even on a really long putt, 50, 60, 70, 75-foot putt, because I'm going back 3 and through 1. It feels like I'm hitting the ball softly, but I'm not decelerating the putter. I'm maintaining the rhythm and the tempo. And again, my brain is really good at that. If I get used to start on this beat, contact on this beat, I add a third beat personally, then to look up and see what the ball rolls. That just reminds me to keep my head still. So it's 1, 2, look. 1, 2, look. 1, 2, look. No matter the length of the putt. But that makes it feel like on those really long putts, I'm actually hitting it softly. I don't ever feel like I have to whack it. Feel like I'm making a good, smooth stroke, and I feel like that because that's what I am doing. So here I've got a putt of about 120 feet, and I'm going to be working on a ratio of 3 to 1. So 3 back, 1 through. Let's see how that works. And again, that's feel. The reality may be a little bit different from that. 120 feet. And that's the right distance. It's just about 3 feet right of the hole. But I'll take 2 putting from 120 feet. This one's 7 or 8 feet. It's about a 1-to-1 ratio on my line. Just barely dropped it in. This one's about 35, maybe 38 feet, and big break, so it's going to be a longer ratio. Want it to feel like 3-to-1. And that's in the hole. Really simple concept, probably not something you've ever heard of or thought about before, but go out and try it for a few minutes on the practice screen. 1-to-1 ratio on most putts. On short putts, 3 to 5 feet or less, feel like your ratio is 1 back and 2 or 3 through. And on really long putts over 30 feet, feel like your ratio is 3 back to 1 through, and keep the rhythm and tempo the same. So your body doesn't have to think about the force you're applying, simply about keeping the beat. It'll make you a better, more consistent putter and more accurate putter from every distance. So give this a try and you'll start rolling the ball with way more confidence. And if you got something of value out of this video, give it a like, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, check out this video on the screen now, and if you want to take it to the next level, check out my online course, How to Putt the Right Way. And until next time, here's to you, holing more putts.